guys, I've been asked this question or these questions a few times already, so I thought I would just go over them quickly with you. First of all, there were some questions about what kind of light I give my orchids, and you can see, of course, that my orchids live outdoors currently. They do live inside the house when it was in the winter, and they get very limited lighting. It was awful lighting pretty much, but ever since I believe March I brought them outside. They suffered the weather a little bit, but they love the sun, and you can see that they love the sun so much because my oncidiums, or my Oncidium Alliance and Intergenerics, are doing really well. This one just flowered and now it's putting out another 3 flower spikes. So you can see 1, 2, and there's another one hiding behind that leaf. And I just checked this orchid right here today, and it has a flower spike here. And over here, I believe this is the Sherry Baby, but I'm not really sure right now. That also has a flower spike. And I just have a bunch of plants, of course, like this Cattleya right here, Penny's Dream. I showed in my previous video. It gets a lot of light, that's why it has all these spots, the purple spots from too much light. And it's grown and it's putting out buds in about 2 months, so since April. Well, I guess it's July now, so about 3 months. But yeah, I just have all my orchids outdoors and they really love it. The Cattleyas are growing quite fast. They are putting out a lot of new growths. Only one Cattleya that I know of course, is putting out flower spikes because most of mine are seedling stills. So the next question I had asked a lot is what kind of fertilizer do I use, or do I fertilize at all? And first of all, what I do is I use this Miracle Grow garden feeder with a hose attachment. And what happens is you put the fertilizer in here and it fills up with water, and then it sprays out the fertilizer. I took out all the Miracle Grow fertilizer and then I put in my own mix, which I call a super mix, because you know, then I just am able to hit every single orchid that I need for every single need that it needs, if that even makes sense. So I got the Goobler. I don't have a lot of choices with orchid mix, so I just get this one is for growth, the 19816 Goobler orchids. And in the winter I usually just use this mix, but I know that there are some orchids that are currently putting out flower spikes, so I also have the Orchid Better Bloom. And you can see the second number is higher. It is for the orchids that are not currently in bloom but are going to bloom. So I mix a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and of course I find this is the calcium and magnesium. This is a liquid fertilizer, so it's not fertilizer, but I mean it's the calcium and magnesium mix. In here I put a little bit into this container, so that is my super mix, and my orchids love it. I water every week with this mix, and it's great. Otherwise I do miss my orchids and water them every day because it's just so darn hot and they love it. So this is what happens when they're outside and they're getting sufficient light. This is a secondary, or these are secondary flower spikes, okay? So it has like 3 flower spikes already, and then all the flowers drop, and this is what happens. Secondary flower spikes. This is the result of just lots of sun and fertilizer, my super fertilizer mix. And by the way, I don't use a lot of mix when I water either. I try not to over fertilize, so I put very small amounts. This is a secondary flower spike, and these are secondary. They're about to die, and this one didn't open right. This is also secondary flower spikes, and those are also secondary. And guess what? These Miltoniopsis, these are all not secondary, but they bloomed already, and then they kept on blooming, and they kept on blooming, and they kept on putting out more flower spikes, and they kept on blooming, and they just kept going, and I could not stop it. So I couldn't even repot them because they've been blooming for the last like 5 or 6 months. And I just have like a bunch of orchids that my Cattleyas and their hybrids that are just growing really well. This is a seedling. Used to be a seedling. When I got it, it was like that short, and look at it now. And of course this one has suffered quite a bit. It's been blown away quite a few times, but it's doing really well right now. And you can see that other plants, all the other non-orchids also love it too. This is the Wandering Jew, the red kind. And when I first got it, I rescued it. It was like that short. And now it's just so huge, and I've divided it up for my coworkers already. So those are just the 2 questions that I get asked a lot, and I just thought I would answer them just so people could know like how I do, or I take care of my orchids. And the weather here is really hot and dry. It's only like 22% humidity right now. My mounted orchids are doing pretty well actually, because they do get water every day. And my Vandas are actually putting out a lot of roots. They were suffering for a little bit when I first got them, but they are growing. So this one used to not be that big, and they are putting out new roots. So I'm really excited. The lack in humidity doesn't seem to bother them that much. So that's really all, you guys. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.